badakiine nitai chan bame gadadhara ki badakiine nitai chan bame gadadhara nikate advaita srini vasa chatradhara ki baboshi ache gora chan ratna simhasane ki baboshi ache gora chan ratna simhasane आरती कोरे न ब्रह्मा आदि देवगाने कि बनरा हरि आदि कोरे चमार दुलाया कि बनरा हरि आदि कोरे चमार दुलाया संजया मुकुंदा भासो घोषादिगाया किबा शंखा बजे घंटा बाजे बजे करताला किबा शंखा बजे घंटा बाजे बजे करताला माधुरा मृदंगा बाजे परमरसाला शंखा बाजे घंटा बाजे माधुर 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 बाजे बाजे घंटा माधुर 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 बाजे बाजे घंटा बाजे माधुर 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 बाजे शंखा बाजे घंटा बाजे माधुर 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 बाजे कि बहु कोटि चंद्राजिनी वदना उज्ज्वला वदन उजाला शिव बहु कोटि चंद्र जिने वदन उजाला गाला देशे वनमाला कोरे जलमाला कोरे जलमाला शिव शिवा शुक नारदा प्रेमे गदगादा शिव शिवा शुक नारदा प्रेमे गदगादा भक्ति विनोदा देखे गोरार संपादा विनोदा देखे गोरार संपादा भक्ति विनोदा देखे गोरार संपादा जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा गौर भक्त वृंदा जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Rama Rama Hare Hare Jaya Kishore Kishori Jaya Kishore Kishori Jaya Kishore Kishori Jaya Kishore Kishori Jaya Jagannatha Jaya Jagannatha Jaya Baladeva Jaya Subhadra Jaya Gauranitai 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 Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada
Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajagacharya Ashtottara Shata Shishimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swamin Srila Prabhupada Ki Jayom Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajagacharya Ashtottara Shata Shishimad His Divine Grace Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Ananda Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद की श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोपा गोपीनाथ श्यामा कुंद राधा कुंद गिरि गोवर्धन की श्री वृंदावन मथुरा धाम की श्री मजपुर नवद्वीप धाम की पुरुषोत्तम क्षेत्र श्री जगन्नाथ पुरी धाम की गंगा माजी जमुना मई की भक्ति देवी श्रीमती तुलसी महारानी की Their most beautiful lordship, Shishi Kishore Kishori Ki. Paramakaruna, their most merciful lordship, Sri Sri Gauranitai Ki. Their most merciful lordship, Sri Jagannath Sri Baladev Shrimati Shubhadra Maharani Ki. Sri Harinam Sankirtan Jagya Ki. Nitai Gaura Premanandi. Oh, glories to the assembled devotees. Oh, glories to the assembled devotees.
Namaste Narasimhaya Prahlada Lada Daine Yito Narsimha Parato Narsimha Rikanya Kashi Bhuvakshaha Shilatang Tanakalaye Yito Narsimha Parato Narsimha Yato Yato Yami Tato Narsimha Bahe Narsimha Hridaye Narsimha Narsimha Madim Sharanam Prapate Tavakara Kamalavare अद्भुत शृंगा दलिता हिरण्यकशिपु तानुभृंगा केशवधृता नरहरि रूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे केशव रूपा नरहरि रूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे केशव देता नरहरि रूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय नरसिंहदेव जय नरसिंहदेव जय नरसिंहदेव जय नरसिंहदेव जय प्रहलाद महाराज जय प्रहलाद महाराज जय प्रहलाद महाराज जय प्रहलाद महाराज जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल नरसिंहदेव भगवान की भक्त प्रहलाद महाराज की प्रहलाद की और प्रेमानंद हरि हरि बोल
हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. On behalf of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, we welcome you to the Sunday Feast program at Shri Shri Kishore Kishori Temple. Shri Shri Kishore Kishori Bhagwan ki jai, Jagannath Baldev Subhadra Maharani ki jai, Sri Gaur Nitai ki jai. Thank you all for coming. We have this program every Sunday, 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. Is there anybody who has come for the first time? Can you please keep your hands up? We have a small gift for all of you. So, yes, thank you so much. Whenever I say a gift, more hands come up. So, I'm just trying to see if there is anybody else. All right. Thank you so much for coming. Again, we do this program every Sunday, 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. We will have a small talk once after the Kirtan. We have a small talk for 40 minutes. Then we'll have Prasadam. Please stay back. And then we'll have also a Kirtan, which will start at 7 to 8. And we also will have darshan of the deities at that time. So, a couple of announcements before we start our program. We already celebrated a Rath Yatra. How many of you were there at the Rath Yatra? How many of you had a very good time there? You know what? There is another opportunity for that. So we have a Bud Billiken parade which is happening next week on Saturday, August 12th. Agnivesh Prabhu will mention a little bit more about that. So please, listen from him. You can come to that parade.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna. Hare Hare. Hare Rama. Hare Rama. Rama Rama. Hare Hare. Lord Chaitanya predicted that this Maha Mantra, this Hare Krishna mantra, will be heard in every town and village. Srila Prabhupada has done more than his part to make this happen. As servants of His, we want to continue this process. You have a chance to participate in this magnificent, this Harinama Sankirtan movement started by Lord Chaitanya over 500 years ago. This coming Saturday, the Bud Billiken Parade, we're part of that parade. To make it easy for you to participate, we have a bus coming here to the temple to pick you up, take you to the parade route, bring you back to the temple. So you don't have to worry about parking. You don't have to worry about trying to find out where everyone is. The bus will be here at 8 o'clock Saturday. Loading will begin at 8:30 Saturday morning, August 12th. The bus will leave the temple at 9 a.m. and take you to the Bud Billiken Parade, where over 1 million people will be on the parade route. They will get the opportunity, the only opportunity maybe in their life, to hear this Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, which can deliver us all from this birth and death situation that we find ourselves presently in. So please come and join us. The bus will be here at 8 o'clock. Loading will begin at 8:30, and the bus will leave at 9 a.m. Guru Mani Das, you want to say anything that I may have left out?
Right quick. Our number is 88 in the parade. So if you don't come on the bus, there's going to be the number 88 written on the ground somewhere between 33rd and 35th Street on King Drive. So let's make this a happening. And I will say, this Sankirtan, if you love Sankirtan, I do. This Sankirtan at the Bud Billiken Parade is the best kirtan in North America. Period.
All right. Okay, so more information is right there also, if you want to come and have a look at it. Also, we will be celebrating Janmashtami. This year, we're going to be celebrating 2 days. September 3rd, which is a Saturday. It's a Sunday. It's a Sunday. The same, we will not have a Sunday feast. We'll have a Janmashtami function, which will be a cultural function, which will happen from 4 to 8. Okay, on Sunday, September 3rd. Then we will also have another festival on September 6th, which is the Janmashtami day. This will be our regular function, which will also start at 4. We'll have a block party out there. There is going to be a block party on the street. We'll be going to block the street, and we'll have tents and food and everything. We'll also have Abhishek and other, wonderful program going on. More information to come about it. You please look out for the flyers in your emails. You'll also see it out there, in a moment. So today's talk, I just want to introduce today's speaker. We have a very special guest. We will welcome him, His Grace Chandra Prabhu. So he's right here. You can welcome him with a loud and big Hari Bol. Hari Bol! A little introduction to him. His Grace Chandra Das is a disciple of His Holiness Bhakti Tirth Swami. Chandra Prabhu joined the movement in 1986 and took initiation July 4th, 1987. He is a graduate of Cleveland State University with a major in mass communication. He also holds a master's degree in public administration for Boise State University. For the last 28 years, he has worked in a prison, and 25 of those years as counselor in Snake River Correction Institution, Ontario, Oregon, USA. He ran a weekly preaching program for inmates and invited visiting sannyasis and devotees to his preaching programs. Now Chandra Prabhu is relegated to book distribution in the prison, yet travels to various yatras in the US and abroad to assist and preach mission of Shri's Guru and Srila Prabhupada. So again, we'll welcome him with a big and loud Hari Bol. Hari Bol! So he's going to talk about this verse, which is our theme for the month. You know, it's going to be, there are like 20 characteristics that we want to display. Now, rather, if you have been following our theme, we are trying to go back to the basics of the Bhagavad Gita. We went through very high level understanding of different yogas. Now we want to understand, you know, what are these qualities that Krishna is talking about, which should be inculcated in us to understand this topic of yoga. So please thank you. So he will be. I would request all the devotees to come a little closer so that people can walk behind rather than blocking them. And please keep your phones on mute. Thank you.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihare Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihare Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradare Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradare Yasodananda Brajajana Ranjana Yasodananda Brajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradare Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradare Yasodananda Brajajana Ranjana Yasodananda Brajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Janmata Kada Krishna Punya Saravana Kirtana Shriddhyato Slohit Abdani Vedanoti Suritatam Nasta Praya Abhatireshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevayam Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavajinaishtiki. So we're reading from the Bhagavad Gita as it is. This is text, or chapter 13, 8 through 12. It's pretty long. Um, there's essentially 4 shlokas here. So I'm going to try to condense it the best I can without corrupting what Srila Prabhupada wanted. So I don't know what the protocol, if I just read it all, we don't do call and response. Okay, all right. One last thing, if we can turn our cell phones off or silent or something, because it's kind of distracting. There's a principle that the eyes go where you see, and your ear goes to what you hear. So if things are ringing, then it'll divert people's attention. And I know it's warm in here, and it could be a very long program, but I'll try to be respectful of your time, and hopefully we can learn something. And hopefully I'll have your blessings that I can say something that is pertinent to your God consciousness. Anmanit bam adambit bam ahimsam shaktir javam acharyopashanam saucham stiryam atma vinigraha indaryateshu varagyam anahankara evacha janma mrityam jara vidhi dukkha dosha nudarshanam asaktyani bivis vangaha puttradara grihadishu nityam cha samachittatvam ishtanisto papatishu Maya Chanaya Yogena Bhaktirabhya Vicharini Vivikta Desha Sevitvam Aratir Jana Samsadi Ariyatma Gyana Nityatvam Tattva darshanam. Etaj jnanam iti proktam. Yaganam yadato nata. So we read the synonyms. Amanitvam, humility. Adambitvam, pridelessness. Ahimsa, nonviolence. Shakti, tolerance. Arjavam, simplicity. Achaupashanam, approaching a bona fide spiritual master. Saucham, cleanliness. Sthirayam, steadfastness. Atmavinigraha, self-control. Indriya arteshu, in the matter of the senses. Vairagyam, renunciation. Anahankaraha, being without false egoism. Eva, certainly. Cha, also. Janma, of birth. Mrityu, death. Jara, old age. Vidhi, and disease. Dukkha, of the distress. Dosha, the fault. Anudarshanam, observing. Asaktihi, being without attachment. Anibiswagaha, being without association. Putra, for son. Dara, wife. Griha adishu, home, etc. Nityam, constant. Cha, also. Samachitratvam, equilibrium. Ishta, desirable. Anishta, and undesirable. Upapatishtu, patishu, having obtained. Mai, unto me. Cha, also. Anaya yogana, by unalloyed devotional service. Bhakti, devotion. Avya bicharini, without any break. Vivikta, too solitary. Desha, places. Sevitvam, aspiring. Arati, being without attachment. Jana samsadi, the people in general. Ariyatma, pertaining to the self. Jnana, in knowledge. Nityatvam, constancy. Tattvajnana, of knowledge of the truth. Artha, for the object. Darshanam, philosophy. Itat, all this. Jnanam, knowledge. Iti, thus. Proktam, declared. Agyanam, ignorance. Yat, that which. Attaha, from this. Anyata, other. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Srila Prabhupada Ki. Humility, pridelessness, nonviolence, tolerance, simplicity, approaching the bona fide spiritual master, cleanliness, steadiness, self-control, renunciation of the object of the senses, absence of false ego, the perception of the evil birth, death, old age, and disease, detachment, freedom from entanglement with children, wife, home, and the rest, even mindedness, amid pleasant and unpleasant events, constant and unalloyed devotion to me, aspiring to live in a solitary place, detachment from the general masses of people, accepting the importance of self realization, and philosophical search for the absolute truth, all these I declare to be knowledge. And besides this, whatever there may be is ignorance. Purport. So I'll try to shorten this because this is very long. And I'll try to make some points on some of the things that were said in the translation. This process of knowledge is sometimes understood by less intelligent men as being interactions with the field of activity. But actually, this is the real process of knowledge. If one accepts this process, then the possibility of approaching the absolute truth exists. This is not the interaction of the 24 elements as described before. This actually means to get out of the entanglement of those elements. The embodied soul is entrapped by the body, which is a casing made of the 24 elements. And the process of knowledge, as described here, is the means for getting out of it. Of all of the descriptions of the process of knowledge, the most important point is described in the first line of the 11th verse. Mai channaya yogam bhaktir avyabhicharanini. The process of knowledge terminates in unalloyed devotional service to the Lord. So if one does not approach or is not able to approach a transcendental service of the Lord, then the other 19 items are of no particular value. But if one takes devotional service in full Krishna consciousness, the other 19 items automatically develop within. It's stated in Srimad Bhagavatam 5:18-12, Yasyati Bhaktir Bhagavati Akinchanas Sarvir Gunaistatra Samsate Suraha. All good qualities of knowledge develop in one who has attained the stages of devotional service. The principle of accepting the spiritual masters, as mentioned in the 8th verse, is essential, even for one who takes to devotional service. It is most important. Transcendental life begins when one accepts a bona fide spiritual master. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, clearly states here that this process of knowledge is the actual path. Anything speculated beyond this is nonsense. Om Jnanam Tanamanyasya Jnanajana Shalakya Chakchuru Minitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Upakata Mayam Dadati Swapatattikam Bandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakavalam Shri Guram Vaishnavamstra Shri Rupam Sagra Tata Sahaganam Raganata Hapitam Tam Sajivam Savvetam Sabadutam Parijana Sahita Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Pada Sahagana Lilita Shri Vatsakhavitamstra He Krishna Karunu Sundo Dino Bandhu Jagatpate Gopisha Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavanishpari Vrishparanu Sutta Devi Parinami Hari Pare Vanchakalpa Kuru Brishcha Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patitinam Padna Vivo Vaishnavimo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrindam Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So there's great significance repeating things 3 times, not just hearing. We have this process of hearing, chanting, and remembering. But to be very effective, you have to chant and then also hear. So it's very, very important that chanting the Maha Mantra, that you take advantage of all of the benefits that it provides. So going back to this verse, there are so many things that came to mind that I thought of the 26 qualities of a devotee. And hopefully I can capsulize the other paragraphs in the purport and give you the definition. So for a devotee, or one who is trying to obtain, I guess, be qualified, because qualification is very, very important before you get a spiritual master, because you can get one, but he might not be bona fide. So in order to get a bona fide spiritual master, there are some qualifications. And one helpful one is being kind to everyone. The devotee is merciful because he is a well-wisher and friend to all living entities. He's not only favorably inclined to the human society, but also to plants, animals. He treats all living entities in such a way that he can ultimately become free from all material bondage and go back home, back to Godhead. So it is also mentioned the concept of ahimsa in this purport. Prabhupada talks about being nonviolent, but nonviolence doesn't mean simply that you don't do some specific offense to human society. It also means thinking of things, thinking negatively. Anarthas, they're kind of passive. And also, there's a bug, I smash it. Just killing things indiscriminately. So we suffer from not seeing things as they are, not seeing other living entities on the platform of human. Of course they're not, but they're jivas. What's more important than the human classification is the jiva, the spirit soul. So this is where we also get into this concept of ahankara. So this false identification that I am human, I am this body, I'm an engineer, I have all these alphabets behind my name, I have certain kind of importance in my family, so forth and so on. So it's very, very important to understand the concept of being kind, which is associated with nonviolence. The next one is humility, or being humble. This is also listed in here, but this is a nice definition. Humility does not quarrel with anyone. One who is humble, there's no quarrel. So to be humble means that one is not hankering to be worshipped by others. Humility should not be artificial, but honest, deep, and natural. It will develop when the conditioned soul admits he has wrong attitude toward Krishna and prays to him for forgiveness, and to be allowed to always engage in devotional service. So what does that mean? Right? What does it mean to be humble? Humility means to understand your position in correlation with Krishna and other living entities. So you have more capacity. For instance, your mother or father, you're duty bound to try to direct your children. And if you're a leader or lead worker at your job, so you try to lead, but you don't do it as in terms of a dictator. So you try to understand maybe the predicament that you may be trying to resolve, but also try to understand the people that you have on your team. Because if you don't understand their psychology, you'll just bark orders and there'd be some conflict. Truthfulness. This is number 3. Fixed in the absolute truth. The primary truthfulness for disciples is to keep his vow of following the regulative principles and chanting 16 rounds on japa every day. Also, a devotee should not perform any illegal activities, and he should always be in Krishna consciousness. Uh, he shouldn't have any other interest other than the order to remain fixed in the absolute truth. So, truthfulness. So you have to be truthful with yourself. You have to know where you are in the equation of your Krishna consciousness. So we often hear and we use this term Prabhu. Prabhu means master, right? So are you a master? Not of other people, but of your senses. Can you master your senses? Can you challenge yourself not to always think exactly what you want to say? You're driving in traffic here, and someone is speeding and cuts you off, and you want to give them some choice words, right? The one that I do replacement words, right? One of my replacement words is that mother father. Oh, that mother father. What the France is he doing? I'm trying to be conscious because words create a kind of energy that you kind of get attached to. So you have to be mindful until you can, if that's a first level control, you can control what you're saying and how you're saying, but you make it humorous. So you're laughing. I'm saying these things and it sounds funny, right? And you're laughing. So it helps to diffuse. You kind of move past. Have you seen that sign? Don't engage in road rage. I've been seeing that. And everybody passes by. They don't pay any attention to the sign. So there's a lot of road rage. The other one that I can think of, since I've been here a week and a few days, has been the sirens I hear every night. I was in New Vrindavan. I split my time. I'm in New Vrindavan, and I hear peacocks. I hear crickets, right? Occasionally, I hear a pickup truck just going up the hill, right? But outside of that, I just hear the sounds of nature. So I come here, and I hear unnature or unnatural. So sirens every hour. There's some kind of distress that's going on in this material setting. So we have to understand the things that create discord, and it kind of programs the mind. And then even even more, I mean, I grew up here. I was born and raised here. And once I got away from it, you come back, oh, I can't believe I was here. You know. So this is the kind of being fixed that we are looking for on and understanding what's favorable for our Krishna consciousness and what's not. Prabhupada also said being in solitude, being away from those things. So you have to practice that consciously if you can't physically do that. Equal to everyone, right? So can you be equal to an ant? Well, there's a quote by John Quincy Adams. He says that he was a Supreme Court justice. He said everyone is equal in the eyes of the law. So when we look at equality, we just don't walk by a tiger's cage and say, well, he's equal to me. I'll just go in and have associated with him. He'll have association with you as a meal. So we have to have discriminating wisdom. So we have to understand what is the proper set for being equal to everyone. We have to understand a person's lot in life, but treat them with respect, treat them with love and care, but not to disparage them, not to find fault with them. There's a reason. If we all take to this process of reincarnation, it's quite possible in a previous lifetime you could have been in that position, or maybe even lower. So we have these things called categories. You've all probably heard of caste systems. And then from caste systems, there are color systems. We rank things according to one's importance, according to his color or his job. You ever have the experience, what do you do for a living? right? Everybody wants to know what you do for a living, as though what you do for a living is going to grant you some importance. So you could be a serial killer and a doctor, you know, or you can be a baker and the most humblest person. So your occupation, per se, does not qualify you to be a big person. Prabhupada used the example that just because a, a court justice, a lawyer, he's big man in the community, doesn't mean that his son is also going to fall under that occupation. In other words, you can't grant that. It has to be earned. So we have to do some qualifications. Faultless. How to be faultless. A devotee who, in words, deeds, and in mind, is always surrendered to Krishna and who executes Krishna's desires is the best of all abilities and is considered faultless. There's also a verse in the Bhagavad Gita where Krishna says, there's always some fault in any endeavor. So Krishna is not looking per se at the endeavor, but he's looking at your steadfastness, how fixed you are. See, because in the beginning you do something, you're trying to make, someone gives you kitchen duties, and you're trying to make something. The first thing that happens is you're not on time. And then you're disturbed. Where are the spices? Where are the utensils? How do I do this? And you're always saying, Prabhu, Prabhu, can you? There's this conversation. So you're not expert in the beginning, right? But Krishna knows this. But what he's extracting from you is your devotion, your love. So whether the love is in the beginning, but the activity is not perfected, what's not important is you do it perfectly, but there's no devotion. So it's very, very important to have some devotion. So this is how you can be faultless. Because the only judge is your instructor. That's guru or the shiksha guru or the temple commander, someone who's giving you instruction. He's trying to help you and he's compassionate or she's compassionate. And they're going to help you process through that. So that's the way to be faultless. Just be fixed on, how do I change my heart? Number 6, charitable. A devotee is charitable because he knows that love for Krishna is always the best. And he distributes it without selfish motives. His charity has no limits. Just like happiness, someone experiences who got the gift of Krishna consciousness. And how do we get that gift? Sometimes you can be in a Rath Yatra and you're hearing the chanting going on. And it's so nice. It touches your heart. You're getting a gift. Krishna is giving himself. And the devotee is the medium for that to be delivered. Whether the devotee sounds great materialistically or horrible materialistically. If you are expert at sampling the heart, you can see the purity. And this is also faultless. So this is charity. This is how we give in charity. And the other charitable thing is that when we see others that are in need, that are qualified to receive charity, we assist them as well. So this is how we help ourselves. We're learning the process of detachment. 7, mild. A devotee avoids illusionary materialistic happiness and thus is spared from the suffering which is bound to it. He always remains peaceful because he is satisfied with Krishna consciousness. Okay? So being mild. We're not abrasive to others. I always heard, and this is also in the Bhagavad Gita, that to instruct another person, they have to accept you as a teacher. In other words, they're going to be fireworks, right? And generally, we're so independent, we don't want to take instruction. But there's always qualification. Can you see someone who's qualified to give instruction? For instance, there's a homeless man, and he says, "Look at me. I gave up everything, but now I'm suffering. You do not do like this." That's proper instruction. Now, he may not be expert versus someone like a devotee who's homeless, kind of like me. You can give instruction because you're renouncing things. so that you can prosecute your Krishna consciousness in another level. Simply, or being simple, simplicity, simple without materialistic possessions. The highest realization is to see everything as Krishna's property. The sincere devotee is not only satisfied to see everything in Krishna's as property, but also to engage everything in a proper way in Krishna's service. So we do that. People bring in boga, what have you, but sometimes they bring things maybe they don't want. Okay? So Krishna should get first class, because if you give first class, you get first class. Krishna says, as you approach me, I shall reward you accordingly. So if you approach Krishna with something substandard, it's a relationship you're building, right? So if you want substandard, Krishna will give you substandard. He doesn't want to, but he's trying to meet you at the relationship. Now, if you only have minimal things, but your heart's open and big, Krishna gives you first class things, right? There's so many examples of that. I'm trying to think at Krishna's pastime. Was it Subal? Sudama, thank you. Sudama, a prime example. And he's pretty much a pauper, right? And only thing he wanted from Krishna was relationship. He was so happy to see him. At the same time, he's, what can I give Krishna? He has everything. He's a king now. First, he's just a cowherd boy. Now he's a king. He has everything. So what do I give him? So Krishna took, was it chipped rice? Just small. It wasn't even first class. But because Sudama had so much love. And Rukmini had to stop Krishna because Krishna was about to give everything away because of reciprocating love, right? So this is simple without material possessions. Benevolent, right? Number 10. Since Krishna consciousness affects the heart of every living entity, the welfare work of a devotee is not restricted to a specific race, species, etc., but for the benefit of all living entities. So how do we benefit? Again, chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. I kind of did that because I want to make sure you're not falling asleep on me. All right, it's easy to fall asleep. So that's being beneficial. So the living entities, the molecules, the things you can't see, the birds, the insects, when they hear that mantra, when I used to do Harinam in Boise, I would go to these, we went to all places. We went to bars, and we would go and chant, and we would get the people to chant with us. They would come out on the street and chant. And then we would go to these rave clubs with these young kids, and I wouldn't go in, but they would come out because they like music. And then I would chant for the trees because there's relationship. If you ever, anyone who's ever grown Tulsi, if you give Tulsi love, she reciprocates. And I was unsuccessful in so many Tulsi plants, but when I had self-love, cultivated it more, I watched the Tulsi plants just grow and prosper. So there's a process that people will accept love from you, but you have to have it in you in order for them to accept. Peaceful, number 11. To be peaceful does not mean to physically maintain idealistic peace, but to experience real peace in one's relationship with Krishna. Only someone who has realized that there is nothing beyond Krishna can achieve real peace and fearlessness. Now, those two things are tied together. If you're peaceful, you're fearless. Abhayam Abhayam. Is that prayer to Lord Nishingadev? Shri Nishingadev. Or is it Shri Nishingadev? Tejas, so it goes on like that. It says that this is something Prahlad is chanting. He's trying to be fearless because he's resolved. So when you're peaceful, you experience this peace through Krishna's got my back. If that's a modern day vernacular, Krishna's got my back. Okay? Completely attached to Krishna. Number 12, devotion to Krishna is neither sentimental nor whimsical, but authorized and scientific. By practicing devotional service, we can learn to surrender properly. Complete surrender to Krishna is the goal of every devotee because he wants to become free from the material desires in order to serve Krishna more and more. Complete surrender to Krishna is the most important of all qualities to be developed. Did you get that? What's the most important quality? Completely attached to Krishna. That's the most important quality, to be completely attached. So, in other words, it's not unnatural to engage all your activities in Krishna consciousness. I like to bike ride. So I do go on these cycles, and when I'm cycling, I know I can get hit by a car anytime. So what do? Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. I create a cadence, right? So if you're going to the gym, pushing weights, doing push-ups, doing steps, walking, you can always do this meditation. There's no hard and fast rules that set to chanting. Of course, chanting on beads is something specific, but when you're done, just get the mantra in your head. I know the easiest way to keep the mantra in your head is right after Rath Yatra. You can't get it out of your head. You're still singing and you're waking up in the morning. Oh, that kirtan was so nice. That Rath Yatra was so nice. Desireless. Number 13. When one is fully engaged in devotional service, one realizes that all one's desires are satisfied. Thus, one does not have any material desires anymore. One only desires to serve Guru and Krishna. So, desires. So, by having that, well, what about I need bread? I need a house for the kids. I need a job. I need to do these things. You dovetail those activities. And Krishna helps to facilitate because he knows you're serious. And sometimes, if you're so serious, Krishna just makes things available. Oh, wow, this is Krishna's mercy. I'm having that happen to me more often now. I'm trying to secure housing, and then I don't have housing, and then Krishna creates something else right away, and then he puts some things there that I don't get attached to, and it goes on and on and on. Steady and, 14. Indifference toward material possessions, right? I love my car. I love my house. I love my cell phone. I love these devices, right? So we become attached to them. So, like the microphone, Prabhupada has used the example. Microphone. It's material. But if it's engaged in Krishna service, then it becomes spiritual. So you're learning how to change boga into mercy, prasad. So these are some of the techniques. Steady and fixed. The realization of a devotee should be so profound that he's dedicated to his spiritual master, and Krishna cannot be influenced anymore by various temptations, sufferings, or opposing philosophies. Prabhu, he's sick. Why is he sick? He's a devotee. Why is he sick? Right? It's material. My Guru Maharaj, he left the world very gloriously. He had melanoma, he had a hole in his shoulder, he lost one foot. But when he was speaking to Radhanath Swami, when Radhanath Swami was reading things to him, he wanted to hear it again. And he was in ecstasy, pain and ecstasy. And he said, it doesn't get any better than this. So this is when the consciousness has the propensity to rise. So we're all going to get to a point where we're going to have to exercise that. And then when we reach the other side, we wonder, why was I so attached to this matter? This is ahankara, false ego. The only pain we experience is the pain of separating from matter. So if we learn that particular skill set, then we can be a winner. 16, self-control. There are 6 bad qualities, namely lust, anger, greed, illusion, madness, and envy. These are the 6 enemies of the mind. I see what you have, I want. You have hair, I have no hair, I want hair. My hair's gray, your hair's dark. I want dark, right? Or teenagers, I wish I were older, right? I wish I could be like this person. So we have these ludicrous envies, not knowing that we're eternal and we've had many, many bodies. So we take an opportunity to try to figure out who we are as a soul. A pure devotee controls these bad qualities by engaging in Krishna service. These qualities cannot be left behind in an artificial way. The thing for the devotee is to understand, to not engage in attahara priyayascha pajapanigamagaraha. So we get into idle things, mundane activities, and idle talk, fault finding. I call it, we become a country club. We just come and we talk about other, what was he wearing, what was he doing, and we totally neglect where we are in the equation of everything. 17, a devotee does not eat more than required. That's hard to do when there's nice prasadam, and you waited all week to come to the Sunday feast, right? And a particular cook was cooking today. By the way, there's pizza. And meant to agitate you. There's pizza. So you get these things. So, and then you eat too much. And then there's disturbance in the night. It feels like the storm, we had last night. You have that in your head. There's a storm in your head and you wake up and then everything becomes a disaster. So we have to moderate. And this is forced upon you when you get older. I'm here to tell you, I used to eat so many things as a devotee, but now I can't. I'm so strict. Nightshades. I only eat quinoa, maybe raw milk and some nuts, and then I'm good for the day. But before I ate everything. So sometimes Krishna, based on his love for you, he'll make an arrangement where he restricts things that you can eat. 18, sane. That seems to be self-explanatory. How to be sane. A devotee is never intoxicated by material enjoyment. He reduces his requirements to a minimum and offers his whole life to Krishna. In this way, he is completely balanced. Right? Somaha, Samaha. So this equanimity. This is also mentioned in this particular verse. Respectful. A devotee is respected respects others without expecting anything in return. He respects everyone as part of Krishna's arrangements and treats them accordingly. 20, has no material hankering. A devotee is not attracted by material possessions, which help us to gain a prestigious position. He sees everything attractive in this world as a reflection of Krishna, the all-attractive cause of all causes. Sarvakarana Karana. Grave. A devotee, although we lead a happy life in Krishna consciousness, we're always conscious that the material existence can be finished at any time, and that in that way it can lead us back home to Godhead. This is not a cheap process. To be grave means that a devotee is constantly thinking of Krishna and the ultimate goal of life. Compassionate. The essence of compassion is the distribution of transcendental knowledge. The basis of it are that Srila Prabhupada's books and the force behind our purity. The force behind our purity. Friendly. A devotee is friendly because he leads everyone to Krishna, who is the best friend of all living entities. Poetic. A devotee is even poetic if he's not literally active, because he is able to connect everything with Krishna's transcendental nature. Silent. Silence means that one only speaks about Krishna and not about material topics. Expert, number 26. Yay! The essence of expertise of the devotee is that he can do anything for Krishna. The best expertise is to surrender to Krishna. So that pretty much covers everything in a nutshell. There are some other things that I thought of in particular, Tadvidi Pratipatena Pariparshena Sevaya Upadakshanti Te Gyaninas Tattva Darshina. Again, this puts this point about a spiritual master. Tattva Darshina. Tattva is the line in which we follow, and Darshina is that association. So you want the association of a pure devotee so that there can be some deliberation. So, how much more time do we have? We're at 15 minutes. Oh, sorry. I'm going to get enemies now. So, everybody's sorry. So, 3. So, if there's any questions, comments, corrections, realizations, please share. Otherwise, we can zoom right to the next part. Okay, well, thank you for your attention and your patience and tolerating the heat. All glories to Srila Prabhupada Ki. Okay.
Thank you so much, Chandra Prabhu, for a wonderful class. So the next part of our program will be prasadam. So if you go out of this door on the third floor, please do come back at 7 o'clock. We will have kirtan here from 7 to 8, and also we'll have darshans open for you. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.